know where we're going. I largely believe that we are going towards a extensive air operation. They might be striking Tehran in the next couple of weeks to come. There might even be a limited ground operation on the southern coast. Israel is going to be given a green light to take out some of the leadership of the IRGC. The Persian Gulf Arab countries are going to join in, and this is all to draw the Islamic Republic back to the negotiating table. But once we're there and we've shed another layer of the IRGC and we've degraded more of their missile capabilities, the Persian Gulf Arab countries have joined in, you have more options available to you. You don't necessarily have to continue with the negotiation path. I'm really waiting for that point to happen. I want to see when we get to that point, is the internal pressure that's building up in the Islamic Republic going to get to a point where Ghalibaf and the people around him aren't able to keep everything together? Because keep in mind, even if his opponents, Ghalibaf's opponents, the IRGC hardliners are taken out, it doesn't necessarily mean that everything's all good and dandy for Ghalibaf. You're going to have a ton of angry people who wanted to eliminate Ghalibaf, who have been being held back because Vahidi and the other IRGC hardliners know if Ghalibaf's taken out, they're all going to die. But what if they're not held back anymore? You know, those are things that we have to see, and which is why for a long time I've been saying, once we reach this point, the game is really started, and the game is going to pick up, and we have to see what happens after Ali Khamenei's funeral, which ended 6 days ago. This is where the real playing field in the game is. It's where it's going to also end at this stage. The Persian Gulf Arab countries have joined in. I gave you guys my reasoning for that earlier. They don't really have a choice because their money's being hurt. Israel's itching to go. They're absolutely ready. The Islamic Republic can never, ever recover economically or politically from what has happened to them so far. The best case scenario, my personal opinion, they last some more time. They will never be in a position where you think they are a robust government. It's never going to get to that point, because it was never at that point. For 47 years it wasn't. They took our beautiful country and they degraded the currency 98% from 47 years ago. It's truly a tragedy. That's my general gist of what's everything that's about to happen. Strikes are going to happen. It's going to be much more expanded. Infrastructure might be hit. Electricity might be even worse off right now because there's power outages in Iran. Those are going to get way, way worse. The mismanagement of these IRGC mullahs are going to get worse. More negotiations, more nuclear negotiations. We can't get to Pickaxe Mountain physically. We have to maybe get some information from them. Maybe Ghalibaf does actually give up the nuclear. If he doesn't, he is of no use to us whatsoever. In terms of bad news, the Islamic Republic is expediting executions. They today executed, let me say his name because he absolutely does deserve this. His name was Mohammad Amini Dehghani. They expedited his process so fast, we don't even have a single picture of him. And they're going to do this more and more because we know they want to do this to scare the people. It is always the people who suffer, and it is due to the warmongering of the IRGC for the past 47 years. In the span of 1 year and a half now, the IRGC has dragged the Iranian people into 3 wars. We're about to go into another one. And who has borne the brunt of the economic devastation of this? Inflation in the last year, year and a half, almost 2 years, has almost tripled. The money that you had just a few years ago, you could do so much with it. Now you can't do anything with that money. You tell me, with the clips that I was showing you in the past few days of the protests. The retirees are protesting. People have been getting laid off are protesting. People who are generally sick and tired of the economic situation are protesting. And they've been met with tear gas and batons. We've seen that before. We're going to see the factories lay more people off. We're going to see people get poorer. We're going to see more pressure on them. And you're going to see sparks of revolution again. Right now, after talking to all the people that I possibly could in Iran, I've gotten the impression that people right now do not want to come out. But we've heard that before. We've heard so many things against Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi before. We've heard so many things about, oh, the people will never come out. And they've come out every single time. And I don't think it'll be any different this time, except for the fact that this time we know that I think 15 million, I think maybe 10 to 15 million people came out last time in early January. We know that number now. Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi is aware to give better directions. Everyone knows, however. The IRGC also knows. And they are absolutely on a timer. Don't make any mistake. They do not have all the time in the world. The blockade is back on. They are once again back to starving economically. Every single time they wanted to talk, what was the first thing? What was the first precondition for them to talk? Money. Unfreeze our assets, which now it's apparent that even Qatar didn't unfreeze 3 or 6 or whatever billion dollars for them. They've got nothing. The only thing that they got was the selling of the oil, which apparently, and I trust in Scott Bessent, that money is going to a U.S. interest-bearing account to buy wheat and barley from U.S. farmers. What you are going to hear in the next few weeks as the air campaign and the United States ramps up its military strikes, you're going to hear two things from the Islamic Republic. I made a note of it actually here. You're going to hear the Islamic Republic promoting two propaganda points. One, that there's going to be high war casualties. The U.S. is going to have hundreds of casualties if they land their troops on the southern coast. The Iranian people are going to have hundreds of or thousands of casualties. You know, it's not the responsibility of the IRGC if Iranian people die, and we know that's absolutely true. Just today, they actually canceled the high school students' exams because so many people were angry that the Islamic Republic forced high schoolers to move their test centers for the most important tests of their life to the Hosseinias, the mosques, and those government centers. Isn't that interesting? They moved the students right next to IRGC military targets and forced them to have their tests there while America is striking. That's what the IRGC does. Enough people were angry that most all of them got canceled. So these students don't have to be put in harm's way. Imagine being a parent and you have to deal with that stress. Raising your child in a country where you know they have no future. So there's that. The other propaganda point is that the Islamic Republic is going to promote propaganda about territorial integrity. Oh, the Arabs, the Americans, they're going to come in, they're going to take, the islands, they're going to take the southern coast, they're going to march on Tehran and kill us all. These are the two things. So, now that we're prepared for what's to come in the weeks ahead, or at least we have a general picture of what's to happen, I think that I'm going to check if I missed anything here in terms of the map. We have a ton of points still left, but I think we'll go over that tomorrow. I think we got a good session in. So some quick updates are more explosions in Bushehr. Bahrain is getting, I want to say pounded. They're having explosions there. They've sounded the siren. People are hopefully safe. Again, the citizens aren't being hit or damaged largely. It's just the now industrial zones, right? So the industrial zones of Kuwait and Bahrain are being hit. The ones linked to U.S. companies are being hit. So that's a significant escalation, which goes back to my point of why the Persian Gulf Arab countries are joining in. They're not joining in because they want the IRGC gone goodwill. They're joining in because their money's hurting. They got reminded during the 40-day war that when their desalination plants got threatened, when the UAE's nuclear reactor was directly struck, at least, nothing happened, thankfully, that they're reminded, oh my God, if we don't do anything, they really might hit our desalination plants and we're screwed. We get 90% of our drinking water from the Persian Gulf. We have nowhere to go. It's deserts behind us. We've made a killer living by selling oil, developing some tourism. We benefit from Iran being weak, led by this IRGC regime, and we benefit from being neutral, but now you can't be neutral anymore. The US has forced you to take the United States' side in destroying the Islamic Republic, and they've joined in. They've realized this. Even Qatar, as I said earlier, even Qatar. So in this upcoming operation, they're all going to help out in one way or another. The blockade's back on, the IRGC is starving, there's internal pressure, the protests are building. The IRGC have very low morale because their commanders are fleeing, the soldiers are getting hit. It's not really looking good for them. And at the same time, the IRGC comes out and says, we're stronger than before. Trita Parsi comes out and says, we're stronger than before. Explain it to me. How are they stronger than before? Did I miss something? Did something happen that I didn't get? So Steve is saying, how did Qatar join in? I missed that part. Can you explain? Yes. So Reuters reported that Qatar actually gave the green light to the other Persian Gulf Arab countries that they can join in on the strikes and being more active against the Islamic Republic. That was one of the last obstacles, because largely we all know what Qatar is capable of. And a lot of the Persian Gulf countries, they have a council, so they like to be on board with things. Saudi Arabia is still trying to play both sides. They're still trying to cozy up to the Islamic Republic. They're not so sure that the Americans are going to finish off the regime. And in case the Islamic Republic stays, Saudi wants to have a good relationship with them. That's why they sent a delegation to the funeral of Khamenei, and they're still talking to them right now. The other countries have wisened up more, and they realize we're not Saudi Arabia. We're not as strong as Saudi Arabia, even though Saudi's not that strong. We're not as strong as them. We're not as influential as them. We're not even as rich as them. We're in a worse off position. If the Islamic Republic stays, they're going to take out their anger on us, like Kuwait and Bahrain and all of them, because we agreed to have US bases operate in our countries. So they're joining in. That lowers the cost for the United States, helps them with the military targets somewhat, the intelligence, the financial, don't forget about that, the financial ties that they have. And that's going to be a huge plus. Now, in terms of Pakistan, because they're eventually, you're going to hear something at the request of Pakistan, this or that. You're going to hear that eventually. In terms of Pakistan, there's two ways that this can happen. One, Trump's praise for Field Marshal Munir is legitimate, and Pakistan actually helps when it's come to the time of overthrowing the Islamic Republic. They actually help. Low likelihood, small possibility. I don't think it's going to happen, but it's a possibility nonetheless. Or two, the more likely option, the IRGC finds that Pakistan will host them if they want to run away. The UK, all the way over there, finally, after all this time, finally designates the IRGC as a terrorist organization, which means what? You can't send your family and children to the UK anymore, right? You can send them to Russia, you can send them to China, or you can go to Pakistan, or you can go to Afghanistan. They're running out of options. All in all, if we just take a look, take a step back, and we zoom out, and we see that, yes, the Islamic Republic is hurting severely. And countries, just like the Soviet Union, to the last second, Saddam Hussein, to the last second, seemed like he still had some cards to play. There was something he was holding back. They don't. They don't. If they had the cards, they would have played them by now. They wouldn't have gotten to this situation. They wouldn't have. They wouldn't have. They would have played it decades ago. They would have played it 40 years ago. And this has been a thing that's been starting for 20 years. So Syria fell. They were establishing proxies in Syria. Syria fell. It's free now. Jordan, they tried establishing proxies in Jordan. Jordan wisened up. They got Israeli help. They quickly designated the proxies as terrorist organizations. They went after them. But then they got Hamas, they got Hezbollah, they got Fatimiyyun, PMF in Iraq. But let's look at them one by one. The arms and legs of the Islamic Republic. Hezbollah is literally, their orders are hide in a bunker and try to survive. Houthis just got some weapons. They got some missiles. They're using them on Saudi Arabia, and they're not using them on ships. So maybe they have some left over so that when we get closer to the midterms time, they're going to start using them and close the Bab el-Mandeb, screwing over a lot of the cargo shipping. Let's see what happens there. I think the U.S. is pressuring Saudi to, not pressuring, actually. Mohammed bin Salman, the leader of Saudi Arabia, actually got the green light from the U.S. to carry out strikes against the Houthis. Let's see that continue. The Saudi military is not very effective, let's just say that. But hopefully that continues and they actually get some objectives completed there. PMF, that's the key one right now. The PMF is right along the border of Iran, and they were able to cross in without any problem. We saw the clips of the caravans, the long convoys of Popular Mobilization Front terrorist convoys go into Iran, and they killed the Iranian people. How can we prevent that again? Back then, I was saying Reaper drones, so the US drones can circle up ahead, they find any checkpoints, they empty their payloads and take them out. And that was the best solution at the time, very ineffective. What is effective is that the Iraqi prime minister, who was just in the White House yesterday, signed 19 agreements in the White House before leaving to the Pentagon with Pete Hegseth and speaking to the Secretary of War, different generals, different heads of the CIA, and they agreed on something very important to us Iranians. They agreed that the US was going to help them disarm proxies in Iraq, specifically stated IRGC proxies. Pete Hegseth actually posted that on X. So what that means is Kataib Hezbollah, which is an Iraqi proxy, and PMF, the two IRGC proxies, have until September 30th, so 2.5 months from now, before they have to disarm. And we actually told you guys this the night the Iraqi prime minister rolled tanks into Baghdad and started arresting all the corrupt politicians. He declared it back then. Since then, the PMF and the other IRGC proxies in Iraq have declared, unsurprisingly, that they're not going to disarm. And if push comes to shove, they're going to commit terrorist operations against the Iraqi government. They said that one day before the Iraqi prime minister arrives in Washington, before he talks to Pete Hegseth and secures U.S. coordination and help to get rid of the PMF. The next time the Iranian people come out, the PMF will be a non-issue. They will be dealt with. Hezbollah cannot come. Hamas cannot come. The Houthis cannot come. Fatimiyyun has not been touched. Fatimiyyun can come. That means you have degraded the terrorist proxies of the Islamic Republic 80%, and they're not as able to murder the Iranian people. Now, your question is what? Your question is, well, what about the IRGC? The IRGC are capable of murdering the Iranian people. You're absolutely correct. The PMF, guys, is the Popular Mobilization Front, Hashd al-Shabi. Same thing, Hashd al-Shabi, PMF. They're the Iraqi IRGC proxy. Okay, so what about the IRGC, Adi? What about the IRGC? They're going to kill the Iranian people. Absolutely, you're absolutely right. But They weren't that willing. We actually saw a lot of them not. That's why they had to bring the terrorist proxies in the first place. That was back then. And things were a lot better for the IRGC back then. A lot better. A lot better. It's much worse for them. A lot of them haven't been being paid for months. The pay that they are getting is much less than before, but they're still showing up because they know there's no alternative to them. A lot of them think that. But more importantly, most of the IRGC thinks that they're going to hold on, that there's going to be some sort of, talks. Maybe this will continue. The Americans are never going to put ground troops in. We're safe. That's what they think. So how do you destroy that? There's several options. So you got the kinetic strikes that actually did a huge number on the IRGC's mental. When Israel started hitting the checkpoints, perfect. I was so happy. I was elated. And then, number two, the money part. A lot of them were complaining about money. And three, most importantly, the biggest one by far, you need the Islamic Republic supporters and the IRGC, Basij, etc., to believe that there is no way out. But you need them to believe that later. There is no way out. They are going to get absolutely destroyed. The Islamic Republic is going to fall apart. You're done. And when they believe that, you offer them the solution. Defect to Prince Reza Pahlavi, lay down your weapons, or die. Prince Reza Pahlavi was giving this exact statement multiple times. He repeated it 4 or 5 times back when everything was kicking off. You guys remember that? Everyone remembers that. He's going to say that. He knows how important that is. Because there's 3 things. There's 3 key things. The people need to come out on the streets again. They need to be armed. And there needs to be defections. All 3 of these at the same time, the Iranian people are victorious. We have a free Iran. Or at least we have a transitional government. Prince Reza Pahlavi is about to come in. The IRGC supporters need to believe that there's no way out. There's only one solution, which is why Prince Reza Pahlavi tells them that as long as you don't have the blood of the Iranian people on your hands, you have a place in a new Iran. Imagine if they didn't even have a place in Iran. They would conduct more terrorism operations. They would fight to the last man. They would, turn into a new Hamas, something like that. The people who carried out the murders absolutely need to be, let's just say, persecuted to the fullest extent of the law, if you guys know what I mean. And what I mean is, there will be no law between the fall of the Islamic Republic and the establishment of the transitional government. But when the law is there to the fullest extent, they're mass murderers and they're complicit. Most of the other people who don't have blood on their hands directly, but were giving the orders, maybe complicit supply, whatever like that, we can decide what to do with them later. We need to achieve the objective first and deal with what's to come afterwards. We can't plan out for so much more on that aspect afterwards. We already have, the first time in history, a transitional government in waiting, Prince Reza Pahlavi and Nifty and his team, with a 180-page document plan of what they're planning to do to the country. And I've read it start to finish. I watched the dozens of hours of lectures that Nifty's put out on YouTube, because you guys can watch too. There's presentations about what they're going to do to the economy, how they're going to get rid of the IRGC's institutions, what they're going to replace them with. There's a plan. Absolutely not like Iraq, not like Libya, not like Afghanistan, not like any of these countries. There is a place and time and a plan that's going to happen no matter what. And that's largely what keeps me going. I know it's going to happen. It is only a matter of time, but no matter how much time it takes, I'm still going to be here. That's why I'm here every single day. So, Don B just said that Iran released an American citizen today. Trump said it was a gesture of goodwill, True Social. He's going to go back to negotiating. I have a feeling. What do you think? So him posting that means that he is talking to the Islamic Republic right now, and that's no secret. He actually said it in his interview today and last night with Trey Yingst. He said that they called an hour ago. He's talking to them. That post has a significance. It's just meaning that there's a gesture of goodwill we're speaking. In terms of objective value, hey, not hitting the infrastructure or continuing on our operations with that one citizen who was released, I'm sorry, there's just no way they're the same thing in value. It's just a signal. We're going to talk. We're talking right now. And Don, that's what I've been saying. I think we're going to shed another layer of IRGC leadership. I think we're going to bomb them a lot more. And then I think we're going to go straight back to negotiations about the nuclear this time with a faster timeline.